Hey everybody, welcome to Neill's Memorial Rock Show. Thanks to Harry and Switchblade Kid and Abney for letting us do this. Just wanted to say a couple of words. First of all, Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Right? Neill was a really good friend of mine. He was my co-creator for the Leftist Comedy Show. We were comedy writing partners. It feels like a lot has left the world with Neill passing. He was easily the smartest guy I knew. My friend Melanie told a story about meeting him that I think captures that. They were at some rally tearing down tents, and everybody's singing the Internationale. They finished singing, and she has never met Neill before, but she speaks German, and she hears in German, "Now in the Deutsch!" And he leads the whole group in singing the Internationale in a language they don't know. A lot of stories like that I've been hearing lately. Like I said, we were comedy writing partners, and I don't know of a better way to send off a partner like that than with a joke. So I wrote a joke for him that I think he would have cracked up at. We'll see if anybody else likes. So Neill was a vet, and a lot of his friends, fellow vets, people who have that background, have been saying that he's in Valhalla now. And I understand that. That's like a really nice idea, but the Neill that I knew isn't in Valhalla. He's up in heaven organizing his 40 virgins to improve their work conditions. So I'm going to let Kate Mauldin come up, and she's going to do a reading. And we'll grab it.
Hi. I met Neill a long time ago, just like through organizing, and then he started doing comedy, and we got a lot closer. But the first thing that popped in my head upon hearing this news was about 5 or 6 years ago. I took this poetry class at University of Memphis, and we studied a woman named Muriel Rukeyser, and she started writing poetry after she covered the Spanish Civil War. That she was just in Spain, and it happened to break out, and she became this huge activist. And so all of her works like reflect socialism and communism and feminism. And I was like, oh my God, Neill's gonna love this. I can't wait to talk to him about this. And a couple nights later, I saw him at the P&H, and I was like, Neill, Muriel Rukeyser, right? He was like, who? Which is the first and only time I ever knew something that Neill didn't already. I was like, you've got to check her out, you're gonna love her. And he was like, yeah, and he wrote it down. And like a week later, I was like, Neill, did you go get that book? And he was like, no. And 2 weeks later, did you ever get that? No. And 5 years later, he never read it. And I was just furious that he never did this, because I really feel like he would have loved it so much. So I wanted to share one of her poems with you all. She wrote a series of elegies starting when it took her 9 years to write it. She started it right after the Spanish Civil War and finished writing them at the outbreak of the Cold War. And I just really feel like this captures a lot of like what everyone is going through right now. This was her 10th elegy, the last one. It's called Elegy in Joy. Now green, now burning, I make a way for peace. After the green and long beyond my lake, among those fields of people and these illuminated hills, gold, burnt gold, spilled gold and shadowed blue, the light of enormous flame, the flowing light of the sea, where all the lights and nights are reconciled, the sea at last, where all the waters lead, and all the wars to this peace. For the sea does not lie like the death you imagine. The sea is the real sea. Here it is. This is the living, this piece is the face of the world, a fierce angel who in one lifetime lives fighting a lifetime, dying as we all die, becoming forever the continual good. Years of our our timeless heart, the binding of the alone, bells of all loneliness binding our lands and our music. Branches full of motion, each opening its own flower, land of all song, each speaking in his own voice, praise and every grace among the old same war. Years of betrayal, million death, breeding its weaknesses and hope, buried more deep, more black than dream, every elegy is the present, freedom eating our hearts, death and explosion and the world unbegun. Now burning and unbegun, I sing earth with its war, and good the future and the wish of man. And though you die, your war lives. The years fought it, fusing a dead world straight. The living will be giving you your meanings, widening to love because of the love of man. All the wounds crying, I fear and hope, I burn and I freeze like you, saying to the beloved, for your sake I love cities, on your love I love the many. Saying to the people, for your sake I love the world, the old wounds crying, I find no peace until all of my wars are done. Out of our life, the living eyes see peace in our own image made, able to give only what we can give, bearing 2 days like midnight, live. The moment offers, the night requires, promise of effort, love, and praise. Now there are no maps and no magicians, no prophets but the young prophet, the sense of the world, the gift of our time, the world to be discovered, all the continents together, giving of their light and several lights, the one sea in the air, and all things glow, move as this sea moves, as water, as force. Peace shines from its life, its work can become at any time, at any moment, the fierce shining of peace. And all the life night long, many voices are saying, the name of all things is glowing. A beginning, a moment of rest that imagines, and again I go wandering far and alone. I rise at night, I start up in the silence, lovely and silver black. The night remembers. In the cities of America, I make my peace among the bombs and commands, the sound that war makes, no. You see their weeping in their lifetime dreams, all this they say to us because of you, much to begin. Now be your green, your burning, bear also our joy, come to our meeting place, and in the triumph of the reconceived, lie down, at last we together face to face. We tell beginnings, for the flesh and the answer, for the look, the lake in the eyes that knows, for the despair that flows down in the widest rivers, cloud of home, and also the green tree of grace, all in the leaf in the love that gives ourselves. The word of nourishment passes through the women, soldiers, and orchards rooted in constellations, white towers, eyes of children, saying in time of war, what shall we feed? I cannot say the end. Nourish beginnings. Let us nourish beginnings. Not all things are blessed, but the seed of all things are blessed. The blessing is in the seed. This moment, this seed, this wave of the sea, this look, this instant of love. Years over wars and an imagining of peace, or the expiation journey toward peace, which is many wishes flaming together, fierce, pure life, the many living home. Love that gives us ourselves and the world known to all new techniques for the healing of the wound in the world and the unknown world. One life for the faring stars.
Thank you, Kate. That was really good. The blessings in the seed, that's good. Well, I guess if anybody has anything they'd like to say, you're welcome to come up now. If you think you would like to say something later, there will be another time toward the middle of the after Ben Abney's set. So yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Ben Abney now.
I can barely play guitar, so but they asked me to do it anyway. Just talk about. I just talked about how I'm not good at talking. What do you want me to do? All right. I'm social insecure, tucked up in broken homes, wrapped up so tight with twine. Pitch black frozen rain. The taillights look like Christmas lights, strung up with empty veins. Cottonwood and dry. Summer's not worth for. What I know, what I know. You feel like every dog you hate. Books are just began. Highlights without any context. Reflecting means no way. There's an ambulance outside, and it's late, but I'd rather drive. Being young and full of life just makes it harder when you die. And we felt so high. We felt so damn high. What I know, what I know. This is all sound for that song. I did not like it. I did write this one. Song called Fire Ants, and just kind of a snapshot of a day. Usually, like singer-songwriter people are really good at telling stories. Now, some of them have good stories and some of them have bad stories. And the only stories I have tonight are sort of about Neill. So every now and then I'm going to tell stories about Neill. So one night I'm playing a show, and before some song I play, I go, "All right, guys, you know this song's kind of a downer," and he just yells out, "Every one of your songs is a downer." I really love to bust my chops. The highway makes it hard to be unless you speak right in mind. Wind's a thief that tries to steal the words are yelled across those feet. And I've lost this time. Fire ants on my mind. And I've lost this time. You are mine. A.m. fell asleep. Swear the secrets that I keep are the books I'm cramming in my head. On the fill for someone else's bed. And I've lost this time. Fire ants on my mind. And I've lost this time. If you are my mind. song. It was actually a drawl song from a band I was in a while ago. And we've talked about this with a few musicians around that Neill was always everybody's #1 fan. And he was at every show that all of us played. And it was always encouraging to see him there right up front singing along. So I know more than once I saw him singing along with this one. You guys are really far away. I can get really loud, but I'd rather be intimate. Help me forget my troubles, lovely body. Help me forget my painful memories. Give me a sense of numbness in my fingers. Give me comfort while I drift to sleep. I am lonely in Louisiana, thinking of my love so far away. But it's hard here in Louisiana, so I'll drink it down to get by one more day. The work is hard here, digging in the ground. I'm always praying for good time, but it's worth it as I lay my head down, swimming in my whiskey, beer, and wine. I am lonely in Louisiana, thinking of my love so far away. But it's hard here in Louisiana, so I'll drink it out to get by one more day. I am lonely in Louisiana, thinking of my love so far away. But it's hard here in Louisiana, so I'll drink it out, get by one more day. I thought Tony had a 6-pack of beer, because that's what I'm used to. Too much room? No, that's fine. This is a good day for a shirt that I saw Neill in a lot. I actually wrote this song about Neill about 5 years ago after one of those incredibly frustrating conversations that we all had with Neill. But it was one of those incredibly frustrating conversations that we've all had with him, where at the end of it you go, man, he really taught me something. And you end up having as much respect for him or more afterward than you did going into it. This is called Farmer in the Sun. Shirt got me a little choked up. I'm delighted, my friend, to hear what you say, that you're making small changes in the world each day. I wanna be there with you, but I have my concerns, and a lack of commitment if my memory serves.
I always saw you as a man with a gun, teaching through the heartbreak of the farmer and the son, or as a poet with hatred in his words, writing and recording someone else's hurt. Let me carry your cross heavy as it is. You can carry mine when the time appears. Shouldn't take too long if we can learn to share. We can change this world, we can go anywhere. I always saw you as a man with a gun, teaching through the heartbreak of the farmer and the son, or as a poet with hatred in his words, writing and recording someone else's hurt. I guess that one wasn't a downer song. This one is. Good night, man. I'll see you in the morning. If this rain stops and I get out of bed, if I'm not ill, if the ground is dry, or if these pills stop ringing in my head, 3 more nights, 4 days back at home, and 9 more in a motel by the road. See you then, tell you how I feel. This may be my last day in the field. Good night, man. The sun is setting on me, and it seems like path is short ahead. Well, maybe I'm addicted to the highway. I can't sing that line tonight. 3 more nights, 4 days back at home, 9 more in a motel by the road. I'll see you then, tell you how I feel. This may be my last day in the field. I've been practicing to see. I blame myself for everything, but I got somewhere else to be. But here sits me. Good night, man. I'll see you in the morning. If this rain stops, I get out of bed. If I'm not ill, if the ground is dry, or if these pills stop ringing in my head, 3 more nights, 4 days back at home, 9 more in a motel by the road. I'll see you then, tell you how I feel. This may be my last day in the field.
I grew up, my dad was a Southern Baptist minister, and it was an interesting upbringing. It was a good upbringing. I had great parents, but I grew into an adult and started to question things on my own. Started to think about things differently than my parents, and so it was a long process to get to where I am now. And I don't really, my beliefs don't really matter, but they changed, and I think that happens to all of us, and so that's what the song's about. It's called Losing Faith in Your Authority.
Preacher man says he's going to heaven because of the good book he found. That woman says I can go to heaven because I'm never around. And all the time I spend in my truck traveling, I know it wouldn't be safe if I wound up laying in her bed, settling in just one place. But I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing. It's catching my sails, the highway shining at this time of night. I'm headed to my next town. Stereo's playing no gospel music, I can never escape that sound. From the words I heard ringing in my ears, there is only one way. What good does it do when I can't believe? I don't know how to pray. 'Cause I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing. It's catching my sails, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing. It's catching my sails. Some more Jack Daniels into my cup, 'cause I can tell this night's gonna be rough. More Jack Daniels into my cup, I'll tell you when I'm done. 'Cause I'm tired of cold nights where I sleep alone, tired of long nights alone. I wanna be there, the dreams I had, and finally being at home. 'Cause I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing. It's catching my sails, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing, I know where the wind is blowing. It's catching my sails. This is another song that Rolf wrote some years ago. Thank you guys. This is called South Maine. Never thought I'd see this day, till my friend packed up, hopped a train, sat on my front porch, and I drank all night. Sobered up with the morning sun, knowing that my day wouldn't be much fun. And I walked the tracks, feeling dead inside. If you make it to Chicago, keep your eyes delta bound. When this river flows upstream, sit and watch as Memphis drowns. Never thought I'd feel this way till the summer sun faded to gray. Sat at the bar and I smoked all night. Got up to leave with the rising sun, knowing that my time had finally come. And I wondered if I'd make it out alright. If I make it to Chicago, keep my eyes delta bound, and we'll sit up on the banks and watch as this town burns to the ground. As this town burns to the ground. Another story I have about Neill is I used to sit around in my bedroom and play all of these like really sad, silly songs. And he made me go play with another friend of his, because he knew that we both kind of did that sort of thing. And he heard me play. And then not too long afterward, he booked Mark Linsky to play a show in Memphis, and he made me play my first show with an acoustic guitar. So I kind of at Keith's place, yeah. Neill made me do that because I was frightened. Thanks. All right, I got a couple more here. I'm writing newer stuff, and I'm trying to write a little bit more upbeat things, but they keep coming out. It's fast.
Misery pays.
I can barely stomach parties or even dinner with some friends. It's too much, this building tension keeps me locked away again, studying chapters of the empires, the rise and fall of men, and their concepts of religion, of morality and sin. I would rather be alone till I head back to my home, to the garden that I've grown, the best love I've ever known. I don't wanna drink your whiskey, wanna keep my vision clear, to remember why I'm working, and remember why I'm here, and to pour over the pages these long forgotten years. You can keep your party going, but I have to be sincere. I would rather be alone till I head back to my home, the garden that I've known, the best love I've ever known. Yeah, I would rather be alone till I head back to my home, to the garden that I've grown, the best love I've ever known. All right.
Yeah, his first love song.
It is, actually. Yeah. Somehow it's still... All right, so there was a particular song that I remember Neill always wanting to put on the jukebox when he walked into the bar. It used to drive a lot of people crazy.
I think it even drove him a little crazy, but I think he would do it just to drive people crazy because, you know, it's Neill. And I'm going to attempt to play this song.
I think I got a sneak peek of it earlier.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll work out. Well, my name's John Lee Pettimore, same as my daddy and his daddy before. Never saw granddaddy down here. He only come to town about twice a year. He buy 100 pounds of yeast and some copper line. Everybody knew that he made moonshine. Well, the revenue man wanted granddaddy bad, headed up the holler with everything he had. Spoiled my time, but I've been told never come back from Copperhead Road. Well, my daddy run the whiskey in a big black Dodge. Bought it in an auction at the Mason's Lodge. Johnson County Sheriff painted on the side. Shot a coat of primer, then he looked inside. Yeah, my uncle tore that engine down. I still remember that rumbling sound. Sheriff coming around in the middle of the night, heard mama crying and something wasn't right. Headed up the Knoxville with the weekly load. You can smell the whiskey burning down Copperhead Road. On my birthday, they dropped the white trash first round here anyway. Done 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, and I came home with a brand new plan. I take the sea from Colombia, Mexico. I planted up a holler down Copperhead Road. Now the DEA's got a chopper in the air, they got stringing up tobacco over there. Everything to do from Charlotte, don't you know? Better stay away from Copperhead Road. Hey, thank you guys. How much time do I have here, Barry?
You got another one?
Is it time for somebody else to come up and do some speaking?
If you want them to.
Tell some jokes. Why don't we get somebody up here and tell some
All
jokes?
right. Stan, you want to
Thank you, guys.
go back up? Everybody grew up or got old.
I don't know how many of you got to see Neill do stand-up. He was a natural, and I thought I'd do one of his jokes that I really like. I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but he would talk about accents are important, and you hear somebody speaking in an Australian accent, and they say, "I'm 1,000 miles from the closest hospital. I've got no antivenom." I can't do an Australian accent, obviously. I've got no antivenom, and I'm gonna go mess with the most dangerous snake in the outback. And he said, "I'd watch that. I wouldn't feel at all like anything's wrong. But if you do the same thing with an LA accent, that's a lower Alabama accent, you say, 'Hey, I'm gonna mess with that snake.'" Well, I'd watch that too, actually, I guess. that was yeah, I don't know. I can't channel him, I'm afraid. I did want to say, Joe Hill was a labor organizer and songwriter, and he was executed in the state of Utah on trumped up charges. And he wrote in a telegram to Big Bill Haywood, also a labor organizer. He said, "Don't mourn, organize." And I think Neill would want. I would be remiss if I didn't say that Neill was an activist and an organizer. And I know everybody here didn't agree with him on everything, but I know everybody here agreed with him on something. And I think he'd like for people to step up in his name. In the same telegram to Bill Haywood, Joe Hill said, "Also, can you come and drag my body to the state line? I wouldn't want to be caught dead in Utah." I think Neill said something similar with his last wishes with the rocket. All right, well, I'll pass it on to whoever's next. Oh, sorry. Does anybody else have anything to say? What do you like to come for, right?
Alright, my name is Josh Dowdy. A lot of y'all know me as Yo-Yo. But my friend Jason Appling, my brother Jason Appling, wanted me to say this on his behalf. And I've never met Jason Appling, but he's always been the most stand-up dude to me. And anytime I had a problem, I could always call him. And he would give me this vast amount of insight. And he had this to say about Neill. Says, "Don't know much about the vast majority of y'all who are going to be at this, so if this could be read tonight, I would appreciate it. My name is Appling. When I met Neill, he was a scrawny little kid that was introduced to me by Travis. He stuck his hand out and told me it was an honor to meet me. Needless to say, I laughed about that remark for years later. An honor? Who the fuck am I? No one, that's exactly who. But Neill was like that. Here was a guy who, on stories of my exploits in Valdosta and other places, considered it an honor to meet me. I had done nothing for him and nothing to him, yet those were his words he chose. This was the kid who took something that started as a joke between 8 or 9 guys, crossed state lines with it, and was key in getting the thoughts and ideas to other guys in different states. Without Neill's love for all of us, Plan B would have never left Georgia. It went from a disorganized bunch of drunks in the swamp of South Georgia to a brotherhood that now spans the southeast and parts of the north, and will turn 20 years old this summer. This again is in a large part to Neill. I gave it a name, and the kid ran with it. Like any brothers, we had our differences, and there were parts of our lives that we would never see eye to eye on, but the love was always there. My heart hurts like all of y'all's at this time, and I regret that I cannot be there at this time, but I am there in spirit. While I do not understand anything or everything that Neill was going through, I am happy that his soul is finally at peace. So to that scrawny-ass Irish kid who once told me that it was an honor to meet me, you had your words wrong, boyo. The honor was and still is mine. Rest in peace, my brother, Jason Appling.
Anybody else want to come forward and say anything?
Alright, we're Switchblade Kid. I've known Neill a while.
did you play? But I guess I see something is wrong. All the tears in the rich and dead shot. We talk before. You got that deep inside out. So I'm told. The 7 minutes from the news is great. We dive into the phone. You got that deep inside out. So I'm told. Don't cry, radio. Don't cry, radio. Don't cry anymore. Radio. Don't cry, radio. Don't cry, radio. Don't cry anymore.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I've known Neill a while. I feel like I know Neill. Everyone knows Neill a little differently. It's been interesting. The people who've known him for 20 years, the people who've known him for 10 years, 5 years, and 3 years. Yeah, I feel like, you know, one of the things that I always loved about Neill is that he was a #1 fan. He was a #1 fan of a lot of bands. He was a #1 fan of the Angel Sluts, of the Draws, Big Abney, First Wave, you know, it's Hudson Falcons. He just, you know, he was just a passionate person. I really related to Neill too, I think on the side of the 80s stuff. You know, he had the same kind of sense of art that I think I do too. And I don't know, we just related on that side, the kind of goth kid, you know, 15-year-old side of things. I don't know. Just keep going. think somebody made a comment online about seeing Neill blasted Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. And I don't know, I thought that was pretty appropriate of him. Not that we're gonna play that. that last song reminded me of one of the many arguments I had with Neill, which is who was the best Batman. And I always think it's Adam West, Julie Newmar, the best Catwoman. He didn't really agree with that, but I think he's wrong still. I'm realizing how much of my own songs have science fiction in them. And that's one of the things that I always like talking to Neill about is science fiction. You know, it's oddly that Time Lord Colin Briskin would come up right when I'm getting ready to go into a Doctor Who / Neill speech. So, one of the last times we talked about science fiction, we talked with, oddly enough, we were talking about Tom Baker, Fourth Doctor, and Leela. And as he called her, warrior princess Leela. And I don't know, it was kind of one of those things that, we both grew up with and were kind of enjoying the resurgence and, and being able to talk about like, back in my day, doctors wore crazy colors and long scars. They didn't do tiny wobbly stuff. But, he liked it too. But I don't know, he liked the new Battlestar Galactica. He loved me forever to watch it. I never have, can't do the reboot. I love the original Battlestar too much. So maybe actually I'll end up watching it and I'll watch it for him. He liked it a lot, I know. So this song is a Doctor Who song. It's called Purple Gilliam Brown. All right, we're gonna do a couple more, and then Ben Abney's gonna come up, and we're gonna do some stuff together. Brent has a special taste. you want to say some stuff, or does anybody else want to come up and say some stuff now? I gotta say, it's been kind of hard. I thought that I had everything planned out that I wanted to say, and I feel like I've choked on every song. So trust me, it's not easy, but I think it's good that people talk about stuff like this.
Was a very dear friend of mine, one of my brothers. He's the reason why there's Plan B here. And he had a love and a passion for a lot of things. But I think the greatest passion and love he had was for Simply Lemonade. So what I'm going to do now tonight is we're going to toast with Simply Lemonade. So, just wait around. There's going to be people passing out a little shot of Simply Lemonade for everybody.
How you doing?
I think he would be laughing his ass off right now, knowing that we're not toasting Jameson, but we're toasting Simply Lemonade. Just let me know when everybody's got one. Yeah, come up and don't. Oh yes. Yeah, and also we have song lyrics for one of the best songs ever written and one of Neill's favorite songs. So yeah. That's going to be the song that...
We're going to do a big sing-along, and everyone's expected to sing along with it.
The toast I'm going to do, Neill actually told me to it in Irish, and I don't know if everybody knows Irish has its own language. I don't know what it was in Irish, so I'm going to do it in English because I wasn't as smart as he was. Everybody got one? All right, I need one, actually.
You get one, Brent?
Yeah, I got it. All right, is everybody good? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody got one? Yeah, that's fine. Everybody got one? All right, this is one of the toasts that Neill used to tell me. Like I said, he said it in Irish, and I don't know what it was in there, but I know the English version. It's for those that love us, may they love us. For those that don't, may God turn their ankles so we know them by their limp. To Neill, love you forever. And here's a little battle cry a lot of the Plan B guys used to say. Y'all might know this. What you know about that dirty South Psycho Billy?
not come to blows, because there are a lot of political philosophies here. And a lot of, there have been disagreements over the years, I know, between a lot of you. But it's remarkable to me and such a testament that you all like him so much and respect him, and that he made an impact on your lives, because I've heard that over and over and over again. And I just, thank you all so much for coming and sharing this evening. He was so pleased with you.
Hi everybody, my name's Bee. I'm one of the people organizing an event on October 25th at the Mid-South Peace and Justice Center in Neill. It'll start about 4 o'clock, and I would like to personally invite all of you to come and share memories of him with us. We'd like to see you. Thank you.
Alright, we're going to do 4 more songs. We're going to do an Angel Slut song. Then we're going to do a Sham 69 song. And everyone has the lyrics to sing along, so we'll just start. First couple of songs. I don't know what the hell to say. I don't think anybody does. It's called Southpaw. I would have to see some children cry, but they were all away. With nothing to do, unsaid what's in your eyes. And I guess I never should. I would like to say about what you know. Shut it down, go. You got me with all these things I do regret. Well, I guess I'll never go. Well, I'll never go. Subject. The sole subject. The sole also a momentous occasion because my wife is going to play drums on an Angel Slut song. So,
That makes me the ultimate Angel Sluts group.
talk about breaking down male-female barriers.
I don't know if what I do is considered playing drums, but sure.
It's like the Stone Roses said, she bangs the drums. Now this is our last song. Everyone step up close. You know, Maddie Cadwell, you better be first in line. Gotta treat those kids right. Teach them young. You know, the thing about Neill too is that he brought people together, and it was all about uniting people. You know, and I think this song has always, as long as I've known him, has just always reminded me of him and stood for exactly everything that he ever stood for. So, you'll have the words.
Plan B, get your ass up here. Yeah, I see you over there.
Everyone sing along.
Girl, come on.
Little kids, are you ready? They'll never be divided. Little kids, are you ready? They'll never be divided.
You will never be forgotten. I mean, did you all really think y'all would see a bunch of tough guys balling rise out?